Tidy and Untidy Friday.
The actions we take at this moment will affect.
What's up? I welcome you to Tidy and Untidy Fridays. These are how-to videos every Friday. Today we're going to learn how to write a letter. So these are steps on how to write a letter. Knowing how to write a letter is a fundamental skill you'll use in business, school and personal relationships to communicate information, goodwill or just affection. Here's a basic guide on how to put your thoughts on paper in the correct format. So first thing on how to write a letter is decide on how formal your letter needs to be. How you write the letter will depend on the relationship with the recipient. Consider these guidelines. If you're writing to a government official, prospective employer, dignitary, academic official, or anyone else with whom you hope to have a professional relationship, the letter should be very formal. The letter should be very formal. If you are writing to your current employer, a co-worker you don't see socially, a distant or elder relative, or someone you don't know very well, the letter should probably be semi-formal. So decide whether you'll send a handwritten letter or an email. The way you choose to send your letter also indicates a degree of formality. Most formal letters should be typed and sent through the post. The exception is if your letter is extremely time sensitive or if you know the recipient prefers email. For informal letters and emails or handwritten letters is acceptable. The semi-formal letters you'll have to make the call and other person has to choose to communicate with you primarily through email. Then email is probably the safest bet. Okay, use letterheads or write your address at the top of the letter, formal only. So if you want to do a formal letter, you have to write the letterhead should be an address, and that should be your address. And then write the date, so the date of which you've written the letter. So then you put the date of the day you started to write the letter. Write the name, title and address of the person you will write to. So after you've put in the date and before that you put the address of yourself, you have to add the address of the recipient. Now write with salutation. The salutation you use will depend on your relationship with the recipient of the letter, as well as the formality of the letter. Here are some possibilities. Formal letters that you aren't writing to a specific contact person, you can start with to whom it may concern. And if you know the name, you can say dear madam, dear sir. Write the recipient's name after salutation. So if you know it's Mr. Robert, then put there Mr. Robert. If the letter is formal, use courtesy titles such as Mr., Mrs., Doctor, or any military or government titles, and then use the recipient's last name. If the letter is semi-formal, you'll have to decide whether you can call the recipient by his or her first name or not. And now start the letter. Do 2 hard returns after the salutation if you're typing the letter, or simply move the next line if you're writing it by hand. If you're writing a personal letter, start by asking after the recipient's well-being. This can be as formal as I hope you are well, or as informal as how is it going. If you're writing business or other formal letter, get straight to the point. Time is money and you don't want to waste the recipient's time. Ask yourself what needs to be communicated. The primary purpose of the letter is communication as you write. Ask yourself what information the recipient should have and put that into the letter. Proofread your letter. Before you send the letter, read over it a few times to make sure it conveys the exact message that you wanted to say. Use complimentary close. A complimentary close ends your letter on a good note and establishes a connection with the recipient. Make 2 hard returns after the last paragraph of the letter. Then write a complimentary close. For formal letters, stick to sincerely yours, kind regards, best wishes. For semi-informal letters, you can short the above closes to sincerely, regards, best. You should also use very sincerely, very best, or cordially. For informal letters, your close should reflect your relationship with the recipient. If you're writing to a spouse, dear friend, or close family member, you can use affectionately, fondly, or lovely. Sign your name. You sign your name will depend on the nature of the letter. For formal letters that have been typed, leave about 4 spaces between the complimentary close and your typed full name. Then sign your name. Now fold the letter, that's optional, and then you put the address on the envelope. This address is the recipient's address, and you can do anything from find the center of the envelope, both lengthwise, widthwise. This is where you'll write the full address of the recipient, like so: Mr. John Smith, 123 ABC Street, New York City, NY 99999. And then you write your return address on the envelope, optional. This you can put on the back of the envelope. You can put your address in case they need to return it. So that is the way for you to write a letter. Thank you for joining me on this Tidy Untidy Friday, where we looked for answers and solutions. Today we looked for how to write a letter. I also look forward to your solutions and your problems. If you have to share them, please share them in the comments below. And your comments and your solutions can be shared in the comments on Fridays. Remember, sharing your solutions can help with someone else's problems, and that is why we need you. My motto for Fridays are: don't ask what the world will do for you, my friend, but what you will do for the world. I will see you on the new episode next Friday, and thanks in advance for sharing your ideas, problems, and solutions in the comments below this video. Ciao for now. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you like my video, why don't you subscribe?